Ever wish you could, like, be a fly on the wall during a couples therapy session?
Or maybe even picture yourself as the therapist.
Exactly. And that's what we're diving into today. But get this, with a French twist.
Oh,
So instead of our usual research papers, we're switching things up. We found this fascinating website, all in French, of course, about holistic therapy training. And guess what?
it's specifically for couples therapy.
Okay, so tell me more about this website. Like, what's the vibe?
Well, they've got these sections titled Explore This Site, Live the Experience in Courses,
Hmm.
even Cultivate Serenity.
Cultivate serenity. Okay, I'm intrigued. But hold on. Before we get lost in translation, literally, let's talk about why this even matters.
Right.
What's the big deal about couples therapy anyway?
Honestly, it's the sheer demand.
Yeah.
This website basically says most couples who are struggling eventually seek some kind of professional help.
Really?
It's not some niche thing. It's like this huge need for relationship support that's out there.
Which makes you think about the impact, right? Like, a skilled couples therapist could really make a difference.
Absolutely.
Okay, but what makes this whole holistic thing different? Is it like regular therapy or?
What's cool is they don't just focus on the couple. They're all about treating the whole person.
Like, what does that even mean?
Well, they list it out. Your emotions, physical health, mind, work, personal life, values.
Wow, it's everything.
Yeah, it's like understanding how all these pieces affect the relationship too.
Because we're not just, I don't know, our romantic selves all the time, right? We bring everything to the table.
Precisely. And sometimes traditional therapy might just zone in on like the most obvious fight or something.
Right, right.
But this holistic approach, it takes a step back,
Yeah.
asks, what's going on underneath?
Instead of just slapping a Band-Aid on the problem, I get it. So are they using a specific type of therapy then, or is it something else?
That's what I find so interesting. It's not just one method.
Mm.
They actually talk about using a whole bunch of approaches, like
Okay.
systemic therapy, communication-focused therapy,
Yeah.
even NLP.
NLP. Oh, like neuro-linguistic programming?
Yeah, it sounds like they blend a lot of different tools together.
So more like a multi-tool ready for anything.
Exactly.
I like that. But you know me, I'm all about the communication aspect of relationships.
Oh, absolutely.
Is that a big focus here too?
Huge. They talk about this thing called nonviolent communication, or NVC for short.
NVC. I've definitely heard that before.
Yeah, it's pretty popular.
But a little refresher wouldn't hurt. What is that exactly?
So basically, it's about learning to talk to your partner in a way that's super respectful and understanding, even when you disagree.
Yeah. Oh,
Like
yeah.
you're expressing your needs clearly, but without blaming the other person.
Got it.
And at the same time, you're really listening to their perspective too.
It sounds kind of hard, actually.
It takes practice, definitely, but it creates this safe space to be vulnerable with each other.
Less about winning, more about understanding,
Exactly.
which totally fits with the whole holistic thing, right?
Right.
But do they give any concrete examples of how this actually helps couples?
They do. They actually list out several benefits: increased intimacy, better communication,
Well, yeah, that's kind of a given.
right, but also reduce stress, a deeper understanding of each other.
Okay, now we're talking. Who couldn't use less stress in their relationship?
Seriously.
And for the therapist, it's got to be rewarding to see those results.
Absolutely. Which actually reminds me, this whole deep dive isn't just about understanding couples therapy, but also...
Oh, right. Becoming a therapist yourself.
Exactly. And from this website, it seems like their training is quite something.
Okay, so tell me everything. What kind of things do they do in this French holistic training?
Well, one thing they emphasize is mindfulness.
Mindfulness. Interesting.
Yeah, it's like they want the therapist to be really self-aware just as much as they master the actual techniques.
Oh, that makes sense. If you're going to guide couples through all that emotional stuff, you got to have a handle on your own stuff first.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly. And get this, they also get into life coaching, communication skills training, even emotional games.
Hold up. Emotional games. Now I'm really interested. That sounds kind of intense.
Yeah, you caught my eye too.
Hopefully there's no actual game night during this training, though.
Probably not.
Yeah.
But it just goes to show how adaptable this whole holistic approach is. They're giving therapists all these different tools to work with,
Makes sense. Every couple's different. Every relationship's complicated. There's no one-size-fits-all solution. Right?
Exactly. But something's been on my mind this whole time.
What's that?
We're really digging into this approach, this whole philosophy even. But it's coming from a French perspective.
Oh, true. Does that change things? Should we be adding some French accents in here to really get it?
Maybe. But seriously, it makes you think about how culture plays into all of this, right? France is known for certain things.
Romance, passion.
Exactly. So does that kind of seep into their therapy style?
Like their whole thing with art and beauty and all that. Does it influence how they approach couples therapy?
It's an interesting thought for sure. Even on their website, they emphasize cultivating serenity as part of the training.
Serenity.
Yeah, it makes you wonder what that even means in a relationship, right?
And what does it say about their cultural values? It's fascinating. So it's not just therapy, it's French therapy.
Exactly. And that's why it's so interesting that they're emphasizing the therapist's personal journey too.
Oh, right, like their own background and experiences.
It's not just about the techniques. It's about understanding how your own culture might be influencing your work with these couples.
Because we all have biases, right? We see the world through our own lens.
Yes, exactly.
And to be a good therapist, you have to be aware of that, open to different ways of seeing things.
Absolutely. And that brings us back to what we were talking about before, the whole person.
Right, not just the couple as a unit.
It's not just about their dynamic together. It's their individual histories, what they've been through, even what they want for the future.
So to be a good couples therapist, you can't just focus on the us. It's about the me and the you too.
Yes. Each person comes with their own story, their own baggage, their own dreams.
And a good holistic therapist understands that.
Exactly. It's like they're saying you can't have a healthy we without understanding the me and the you first.
I like that. Okay, so we've talked a lot about this French website. It's definitely not just about techniques. It's a whole new way of thinking about couples, about relationships.
They're really showing how transformative this work can be for the therapist and the couple.
Totally. And speaking of transformative, it's about time for us to wrap things up.
Already.
I know, right? Time flies. But before we go, we always like to leave our listeners with something to think about.
A little food for thought.
Exactly. So here's yours today. If you were designing a holistic couples therapy program,
Ooh, good one.
what would be your unique spin on it?
What would you bring to the table? What would make yours special?
Right. Based on everything we've learned today, what could you add to make it even better?
Something to think about.
It is. And on that note, it's time to wrap up this deep dive into holistic couples therapy.
This is a good one.
I know, right? It's fascinating how much there is to uncover about relationships.
It really is. And this whole French perspective, it adds a whole other layer to it.
It totally makes you realize there's no one right way to do this work. It's about finding what resonates with you and your clients.
Exactly.
Well, on that note, until next time, keep those minds curious and those conversations flowing.